Prepare to be gripped by a chilling tale of resilience and unimaginable horror. Meet Lindsay Hawker, a woman whose lifelong pursuit of knowledge led her to Japan, where she sought to make a difference by teaching English. Little did she know that her noble mission would soon descend into a nightmarish ordeal. In this harrowing account, we delve into the story of Lindsay Hawker and the sinister man who would go to extreme lengths, even altering his own face, to elude capture. On March 24, 2007, something unsettling happened in Chiba, Japan. Lindsay Hawker, a 23-year-old woman from Coventry, England, disappeared without a trace. What followed was a 3-year-long search by the police. Lindsay was a beloved member of her community. She excelled in her studies and graduated with top honors in biology from the University of Leeds in 2006. Seeking some time off before pursuing her master's degree, she decided to travel. In October of the same year, she joined the Nova Teaching School and embarked on a journey to Japan, a beautiful country. Upon arriving in Japan, Lindsay was assigned to Koiwa, a district in Edogawa, Tokyo. To save on rent, she chose to live in Chiba, a city slightly further east, sharing an apartment with 2 fellow Nova school teachers who soon became her friends. Despite the distance, Lindsay stayed connected with her family and boyfriend in England through various means like Facebook, WhatsApp, Skype, texts, and calls. She relished her time in Japan, and everything appeared to be going smoothly. 6 months into her stay in Japan, in March 2007, Lindsay had a strange encounter. After finishing work, she went to Chiba Station where she usually kept her bicycle. While unlocking her bike, a man approached her from behind and said, "You are my English teacher." Lindsay found this odd because she was certain he wasn't one of her students. Politely, she ended the conversation and hopped on her bicycle to ride back to her apartment. To her surprise, the man started following her. When she increased her speed, he ran after her. While trying to escape, he bombarded her with questions like, "Where are you from?" and "Where did you study?" Lindsay couldn't shake off the man, and eventually she stopped her bike outside her apartment. Once again, he approached her. He asked if she could give him English lessons because he felt he needed help with the language. He suggested meeting at a public cafe where she would feel comfortable, and he promised to pay generously per hour. Lindsay declined his offer, explaining that she was too busy with work and barely had any free time. The man seemed disappointed, but accepted her answer. Then he asked if she could give him a glass of water because he was thirsty from chasing her. Reluctantly, Lindsay agreed and let him into her apartment. She wanted her housemates to see his face in case they encountered him again, and she also wanted to show that she wasn't living alone, hoping it would deter the man if he had any harmful intentions. Once inside the apartment, the man persisted in asking Lindsay for English lessons, but this time he offered to pay her 3,500 yen per hour. Tempted by the easy money, Lindsay reluctantly agreed, and they scheduled a meeting at a coffee shop a few days later. The man seemed grateful for her acceptance. Before leaving, he grabbed a pen and a scrap of paper and hastily scribbled something. To Lindsay's surprise, he handed her a note with a drawing of herself and his name and phone number. The note read, "Tatsuya Ichihashi, phone 047-356-7238. Tatsuya, a 28-year-old man originally from Ichikawa but living in Chiba, had ambitions to become a medical doctor like his father. However, when he was denied further education opportunities, he settled for a degree in horticulture from the University of Chiba in 2005. After graduating, he didn't make any effort to find a job and instead relied on a monthly allowance of 100,000 yen from his parents. While Tatsuya had no previous criminal record, he was once suspected of theft and assault. Allegedly, he had attacked a woman during a robbery, but his father paid her 1 million yen to resolve the matter outside of court. Tatsuya was often described as a loner with a strong interest in physical fitness. He regularly visited his local gym and cycled more than 25 kilometers every day. On Saturday, March 24, 2007, Lindsay and Tatsuya had their first English lesson at a nearby coffee shop. CCTV footage captured them conversing in the queue while ordering their drinks. Lindsay didn't appear visibly uncomfortable, but she made sure to maintain some distance between them. If Tatsuya got too close, she would step away. The lesson lasted a little over an hour, and nothing appeared unusual during that time. After the English lesson, Tatsuya told Lindsay that he had forgotten to bring the payment and invited her to his apartment, which was just half a mile away, to collect it. Lindsay agreed, and they took a taxi together. Arriving at Tatsuya's home, Lindsay asked the driver if he could wait since she needed to go to work that afternoon. The driver agreed, and both Lindsay and Tatsuya entered the building. However, as minutes passed by without Lindsay returning, the driver assumed she had changed her plans and left. Lindsay didn't show up for work that afternoon, and her roommates grew worried when she still hadn't returned home after several hours. They decided to contact the police and report her missing, but unfortunately the police didn't take it seriously at first. When Lindsay failed to check in at work on Monday, the Nova Teaching School contacted her parents in England to inform them. Alarmed by the situation, Lindsay's parents called the police again. During the investigation at her apartment, her roommate shared the information about the strange man she had a lesson with and handed over the sketch with his details. On Monday, March 26th at 5:40 p.m., 2 police officers were sent to Tatsuya's apartment. They knocked on the door, but no one answered. However, the kind neighbors allowed the officers to access their balcony to peek into Tatsuya's living room. The lights were off, but they could see someone inside. They also noticed that Tatsuya had moved his detachable bathtub from the bathroom to the balcony, which seemed suspicious. The officers suspected that Lindsay might be held captive in Tatsuya's apartment and called for backup. After 3 hours, 9 officers had gathered, and they began planning a raid on the apartment. However, as they were preparing to storm in, Tatsuya unexpectedly opened the door barefoot, carrying a backpack. Seizing the opportunity, he swiftly passed through the 9 officers. They managed to grab his backpack, but unfortunately, Tatsuya escaped into the darkness of the night. During the search of Tatsuya's apartment, the police made a horrifying discovery. Lindsay Hawker's lifeless body was found naked in the bathtub on the balcony. Tatsuya had covered her completely with a mixture of soil and sand, leaving only her right hand visible. Upon further investigation, they found that Tatsuya had added a substance to the soil to accelerate decomposition, and he had placed flower seeds on top to disguise it as a flower bed. He had also shaved Lindsay's hair off. Among the items found in the apartment were multiple women's wigs, indicating that Tatsuya may have been a cross-dresser. Speculation arose, suggesting he might have killed Lindsay to use her hair for a wig, but this theory was never confirmed. By the following morning, Tatsuya had become a wanted man throughout Japan. The police distributed wanted posters and aired his image on various news outlets multiple times a day, hoping for leads. However, despite these efforts, no significant breakthroughs occurred. After a couple of weeks with no solid leads, the police resorted to releasing photoshopped images of Tatsuya wearing wigs in case he was disguising himself in drag. Unfortunately, these attempts also proved fruitless, and the investigation went cold. 2 months after Lindsay's tragic death, her parents arrived in Japan to help raise awareness and put pressure on the authorities to find Tatsuya. Frustrated with the progress of the police investigation, Lindsay's father went as far as befriending members of the Yakuza, the Japanese mafia, and offering them bottles of whiskey in exchange for their assistance in locating his daughter's killer. The media turned their focus on the Japanese police and began questioning their competence. How could 9 officers fail to apprehend a single man when they were about to raid his home? Why did it take them a month to question crucial witnesses? Furthermore, the revelation that the wanted picture of Tatsuya was 7 years outdated only added to the public scrutiny. The situation escalated into public arguments between the police and Lindsay Hawker's family, prompting extensive coverage from both British and Japanese media. Meanwhile, Tatsuya managed to travel across the country, moving from Aomori in the north to Okinawa, the southernmost island. In the years 2008 to 2009, Tatsuya resided in Osaka, around 250 miles west of Tokyo. He survived by sleeping in internet cafes and working on construction sites, saving up money for plastic surgery to alter his appearance. However, even before undergoing surgery, he had already mutilated his face through self-inflicted injuries. He used a knife to remove moles, cut off part of his lower lip with scissors, and even sewed a thread through his nose to change its shape. As desperation grew, the police raised the cash reward from 1 million yen to 10 million yen and released more photoshopped images suggesting that Tatsuya had likely undergone plastic surgery. In October 2009, a plastic surgeon informed the police that he believed he had recently operated on Tatsuya. The surgeon provided a before and after photo, which was promptly released to the public. The plan to alter Tatsuya's appearance through plastic surgery worked, and he managed to evade capture for a while. However, his luck ran out when a colleague on the construction site where he was working recognized him and alerted the police. In a state of panic, Tatsuya hatched a plan to escape to Okinawa and find refuge in an abandoned bunker on a remote island, a tactic he had used before when he felt the police were getting too close. On November 10, 2009, Tatsuya attempted to make his escape from Osaka's ferry port, hoping to remain unnoticed during the 3-day ferry journey. Unfortunately for him, a staff member at the port recognized him and immediately alerted security, who called the police. When questioned, Tatsuya knew he couldn't deny his identity any longer and admitted, "Yes, it is me, Tatsuya Ichihashi." He was promptly arrested on the spot. Initially charged with abandoning a body, he later faced additional charges of rape and murder. On July 4, 2011, Tatsuya Ichihashi's trial commenced. Given the nature of the crime, the deliberation was brief, and he confessed to luring Lindsay into his home, raping her and strangling her out of fear that her screams would alert the neighbors. The media focused on speculation about how the court would punish him, as Japan still practiced the death penalty. However, on July 21, 2009, Tatsuya received a sentence of life imprisonment with a minimum of 10 years before being eligible for parole. Although many campaigned for him to receive the death penalty, it was not imposed in his case. In 2012, Tatsuya appealed his sentence, arguing that it was too harsh and claiming that Lindsay's death was accidental, as he was trying to silence her screams. However, the Tokyo High Court upheld the original sentence. Tatsuya continued to inflict pain on the Hawker family by writing a book about his time on the run from his prison cell. The book gained popularity in Britain, selling over 100,000 copies. He offered Lindsay's parents the royalties, but they declined. The book's success led to its adaptation into a film called I Am Ichihashi, The Journal of a Killer. As of 2022, Tatsuya remains imprisoned, serving his sentence.